Too long has it been since I touched Village Ace. A long 2 days. Oh, that's pretty long. So immediately I got back on and recorded the Valem gameplay. I think Valem is pretty, design-wise. No, I'm joking. He's pretty cool. I think he's pretty sick. You know, skeleton bird. Chase my pillars and do it 2 times, said the Birdman. I think he's pretty cool. I really would have seen him more as a starter character, if I'm being honest. I would say that he should be more of a starter character than Baldi should have been, which again I still don't understand why Baldi's a starter character. But anyways, Valem is a pretty okay character. I think he's pretty strong if you know how to play him. A lot of people don't know how to play him the correct way, which, you know, he has a very unique playstyle from the other monsters. He's very interesting with the way he plays, which that's why I think he should have been a starter monster, because then you could explore the diverse ways that most monsters will have in their playstyle, especially when not a lot of people know who Valem is. He's from a Minecraft mod that Blade Ninja created a while ago, and he brought it into the Pillar Chase, which I think is cool. I think it's really cool. But like I said, not a lot of people know who he is. It would have made more sense if he was a starter character, so that way people could have a grasp on him, especially when he doesn't even have that many skins, if I'm being honest. Which, that's really a bad thing, but it just would, he feels like a starter character. Does that make sense? He feels like a beginning character for other people to, you know, play around with and have a grasp on. What makes Valem so different from the other monsters is his M1 style. He has a charged M1, and it's somewhat ranged, basically in a sense that he doesn't really attack you with his hands or anything, with his feet or anything, with his beak. No. He charges up a little shot, and then he shoots it at you. It's pretty far, so you can kind of snipe people. So depending on how long you charge it for is how much damage it does, which I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's really interesting. A fully charged shot does about 30 damage, which means if you do, you know, 3 hits on, you'll get them to bone break, and then you don't have to do a full charge to kill them, you know, finish them, which it's really cool. I think that's really interesting. It can change up the way you want to play. You know, you could go for like a good shot in the beginning and then go for 3 full charge shots at the end, so that way you don't have to put them in bone break and you can just finish them quicker. I think that's interesting. I think it's really interesting. I really hope Blade does, you know, more characters like this with a unique M1 style, which, you know, it would really spice things up, rather than just having every character have the same, you know, attack format, you know. Valem has a very simplistic move set, considering he's a trickster. He has demonic illusion, which allows for him to place down a illusion of himself, right? It's just him, but it's a fake, and he will, you know, start floating, kind of like how a Springtrap is able to do Phantom Walk, except Valem will go completely invisible. The only thing you'll be able to see is his eyes glowing, and you can fly in any direction you can for a short period of time. So that way when you land, you can get some distance. This is a pretty good move for movement, and so you can catch up to survivors pretty efficiently, especially considering he's kind of an ambusher. He has a pretty low amount of stamina, which to compensate for that, he has pretty high speed, and his stamina regen is pretty high too. He's a pretty decent ambusher, I would say. I think demonic illusion is also cool too. He can basically, when he places down a clone, the clones, these demonic illusions, right, they can heal or provide buffs for a survivor that comes close to it. That's the idea, right? They are trying to draw in a survivor to make them think that they're, peaceful, they're chill. This is pretty much a 50-50. If you want to go up to a demonic illusion, get a couple of buffs in, they also can drop items like medkits or flashlights, Stefano, etc. They can drop stuff like that. Valem, if he's in close enough range of the illusion, he can teleport back to the illusion, which will cause it to deal damage to any player and cause him to not be able to sprint for a while, which can be pretty strong for cutting people off. If you place like an illusion one side and then go and attack through the other, you can cut a person off by teleporting to that illusion when they get close enough to it. That way you can deal damage and stop them from sprinting. It's pretty good tactic, I would say. Pretty good for maps like T-Jock, Baldi Schoolhouse, My World, maybe Pillar system, the Pillars map, maybe Pillar Drain system, kinda. But I think those are pretty effective strategies. His next move, which is Trickster's Truth, will cause Valem to enter a state where he can only walk, except his walk speed is increased by a lot, which means he can pretty much run at the same. He's basically like speed walking, right? Any survivor that is in radius of the Trickster's Truth effect will cause their stamina to drain faster than they would regularly. This only comes into effect when the survivor is running though, which means if you have your stamina built up, you can pretty much outrun the radius of it, which it's really not that hard to get away from, if I'm being honest. It's kind of like Rosemary's demonic essence, but weaker, and you can't run. It's pretty okay. In this state, Valem also does more damage. A fully charged shot does 50, which is 20 more than his original damage. That's pretty strong. It allows him to two-shot survivors, which I think is pretty nuts. So just don't be close to him when he does this. It's really not that hard to avoid. It's really not that hard to avoid. You should only ever use this move if you know that the survivor that you're chasing is low on stamina and they need to conserve their stamina. Or you could just use it when you have a survivor trapped in a dead zone that they can't get out of. For instance, if a survivor is in the cafeteria of Baldi Schoolhouse, or a survivor is, in one of the trash piles in T-Jock, things like that, circumstances like that. That's when Trickster's Truth is pretty good. But usually you just use this for when a survivor is low on stamina that you're chasing, right? It's the only viable way to really use it. You can't really just get kills with it just by using it off rip. Only if a player is trapped and stuff, That's when I usually use it, at least. I think Valem has some pretty okay skins for having such a tiny amount. Obviously, he doesn't have that many skins, which is kind of a letdown, if I'm being honest. But his skins are good, nonetheless, for skins that have just dropped off release. I think his rank skins are pretty okay. They're pretty simplistic, but they're fine. His gold is pretty. It's really pretty. His diamond is nice too. It shares a resemblance with that of Fogborn, which, it makes sense. They're both from Minecraft, so, they're both from a Minecraft mod, so it makes sense that they would be similar. I like that. So yeah, his skins are just, they're alright. But yeah, that's gonna be it for Valem. I think he's a pretty solid monster. Would really make sense for him to be a starting monster, but, I don't make the rules. But I would give Valem a very solid A. I think he's a pretty strong monster for what he is, and I think he can be very viable if you use him right. This is assuming you actually know how to play the game. Like, come on. He's really not that hard to use, if I'm being honest. But yeah, that's gonna be all for Valem. So yeah, see ya.